The eagle-eyed amongst you will notice that Darryl has made way, and joining me now is the Witney Town manager, Ben Reardon. First of all, Ben, thanks for coming in this evening. Really
thank
good
you for
to
having
see
me.
you. We just really wanted to have a chat to you about the season so far, but we have got in this envelope the name of the stadium, which you don't know.
I don't know.
We'll unveil that at the end.
Okay.
Thanks very much to the community of Witney Town for voting throughout the day. Paul Foster was leaving me on tenterhooks as well, and eventually sent me the name, and we'll reveal that at the end of this interview. So Ben, first question really. You started the season with some tough games at the start, a very new side. Obviously, the defeat at Didcot in the pre-season friendly, but you must be pretty happy with how things have gone so far. Second in the league and flying at the moment. Yeah,
extremely pleased, Kieren. To be honest with you, I think that when you start afresh and you're building a squad, it's really tough in pre-season when not everyone's had the minutes that you want them to.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, we had a awakening at Oakley. First game of the season. They're very established, fantastic at this level. They're great at their place as well. They know how to play on that pitch. They're very direct. They're strong, and it was almost like a lesson learnt. And we spoke after the game, and there was two things. I said to them, we could either carry on the season as we was, and there'd be a lot of lows, a few highs, but the bigger picture is we've got a team back on the pitch, fantastic achievement. Or we can get back to the training pitch, we can work really hard, it will bring us together, and I guarantee you if we do that, in 10 games time, we'll look at this, and this will be where we've learnt our lesson from. And to be honest to them, give credit where it's due, the lads have been absolutely fantastic, and that's exactly what they've done. Yeah,
I was going to say, you look at Oakley, you look at their record so far, it's no disgrace to have lost to them first game of the season, and it was a completely new venture, wasn't it? But you turned that around really, really quickly, got onto a really good winning run. You're currently in second place in the table, and really, with the exception of Oakley, who are doing really, really well at the top of the league, you're there or thereabouts looking to maybe get that promotion in the first season.
Yeah, we're going to stay humble, and we're still going to work hard, because there's a long way to go. If we get to Christmas and we're in that promotion place, then fantastic. Like I said, there's a long way to go, so we still need to work hard. But I think that showed in the last game when we played Summertown. Yeah. We went in at half time and we were 2-0 up, and I wasn't very happy. And I told the lads that, we need to really step it up now, because we can't take our foot off the gas, because we were coasting. And look what they did. They came out, they scored 6, so they reacted really well. So it just shows the environment that we've got set already in that group of people. Mm-hmm. There's no egos, there's no attitudes. Everyone wants to work hard and everyone wants to get promoted. But there's a long way to go still.
I was going to ask, is it quite tough having the name Witney Town? Because I guess that all the teams that you're playing, even though you're staying grounded and you want to stay grounded and it's a very young side, the teams that you're playing will see Witney Town as the opponent, and that you're a bit of a scalp that everybody wants to take, aren't you?
Yeah, I think especially when they come to our place, it's like a cup final for them. They look at the setup, everything's ready when they're turning up. We're on the 4G, there's a dugout, there's 2 dugouts, they're turning up and they're giving a programme. The setup's fantastic. So I think that inspires them to up their game. But for us, we have got a very young side. A lot of them don't know the history of Witney Town, which is quite good in a way, because they're just enjoying their football and they're just playing freely like they should be.
Yeah, and it's a really young side, isn't it? You were talking to me just off air a minute ago. You got some 16-year-olds in the side, some 18-year-olds. You played the other week. Obviously, you probably brought the average age up slightly. But it's a really, really good young side, and they play some really good football.
Yeah, we tried to. We tried to play football the right way, and I think, especially at home on that 4G surface, like when I first came in, I said it'd be criminal if we didn't play football the right way on there. Yeah. So we do try, but we've spoke a lot about the youth in the side, but I actually think that the experienced players have been absolutely fantastic, and without them, those youthful players wouldn't have been able to accomplish what they've done already. A lot of them, it's their first time playing men's football, and to do that, the coaches can say something on the side, but when you've got a few coaches on the pitch reiterating what you're saying, it really helps them come along. So yeah, it's been really good.
And you've got some good coaching and you've got some really good experience. Chrissy Allen obviously made his debut a few weeks ago, got a yellow card for dissent, I think, and got sin binned, and he's been out for a little while with a bit of an injury, but I gather he's close to getting back to fitness again. Having somebody like Chrissy Allen in the side alongside those youngsters, it must be fantastic for the kids to sort of learn from somebody that's been right to the top. Yeah,
I mean, if you have the chance to include Chrissy Allen at any age into your squad, you're going to do so, aren't you? I mean, I'm fortunate that I've played with him and I've known him as a person for a long time. He's a fantastic guy. So he's came into the side. Bearing in mind that a lot of the younger players are probably hearing from their dad how good he was. They have no idea who he was,
absolutely.
You know, which is amazing, really, considering what he's achieved in football.
Yeah.
But I've asked him to play left back. I've asked him to play up front. He turns up to every training session. He gives it his all, but he's playing like he's fighting for a contract. So, you know, to have that in your squad is just incredible, really. And it speaks volumes of him that he wants to come and play for me.
We haven't touched on it yet, but you mentioned it a couple of weeks ago in one of your post-match interviews. The support from the local community, you know, the fact that the Facebook group's absolutely blossoming. There's nearly 2,000 followers. You're getting crowds in excess of 100 most weeks. Even on that really wet week a couple of weeks ago, you were just shy of 100, which is a lot more than a lot of the local Southern League clubs are getting. The support at the moment is second to none, and understanding that there's a limited capacity at the ATP, it's fantastic to see that, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think that just speaks volumes for the directors. You know, the hard work that they're putting off the pitch is just unbelievable, and it filters down throughout the club. And I think everyone wants to be a part of it, whether you're following us online, whether you're coming to games. It's amazing to see. And we've actually got people that have turned up to games from London. That, you know, you've got family members and they've came once and they come most weeks now because they're like, oh, it's only an hour and a half away, I'll come and watch a game, and they love it. So yeah, the support has been absolutely different class. It's
brilliant, and it's a real community feel, isn't it? I saw this week gone, you've raised something like £2,200 for Tough to Talk. You know, that sort of community spirit, if you like, is really important, because you've got a lot of backing from companies and from the community, but you want to give something back to the community, which is what you're doing.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I said earlier that we want to get promoted and we want to play in a certain way, but I think to get a football team back in Witney playing again, a senior side, is amazing. But over that, what we're doing, what the directors are achieving off the pitch with the food banks, with, you know, mental health charities. We have a Monday night football five-a-side team that goes on, and anyone's available and welcome to play if they are. There's so much going on that's incredible, and yeah, I think the results are one thing, but what's happening off the pitch is more important for me. And
I know that we can't say too much at the moment, but there are exciting ventures around the corner. Some exciting news will be around the corner. I know that, speaking to Paul Lyon frequently, we'll be able to announce other things, but it's sort of baby steps at the moment, isn't it? Sort of, you know, the first step was getting the club reformed last year, which Paul Foster and his brother and all the other people that helped him get it reformed. The next dream was to get that first game, which was at Didcot. Next dream is to compete in the C League, which you are doing. So there's a lot to look forward to over the coming year or so.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the foundations are put in place already for that to happen. And although we're only just starting out, I feel like, especially on the pitch, I feel like we're probably half a season further forward than is expected at this point already. Yeah, you know, we're second in the league, we're in the quarterfinals of the County Cup, but off the field, you know, we're raising a lot of money for charities, we're raising a lot of money for the club while we're doing it, we're getting the support, the backing's there. So yeah, I think everything's just going really smoothly at the minute. You
stole my thunder, because my next question was going to be that County Cup. So you've got into a quarter-final in your first year. You've got a really tough game coming up in a couple of weeks' time. Obviously, Oxford Irish at home this weekend, and then a trip and away game to a really established Senior League Premier Division side in Launton Sports. That will be a really good gauge as where the club is at the moment.
Yeah, I think so. I just hope that this weekend we don't pick up any injuries, because we've got a really strong squad. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to this game. We can only look, you know, one game at a time. So Oxford Irish will be a really tough one. But if we can just stay injury free and we can take a really strong squad to Launton, I think that, I don't see why we can't go there and get a result, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. And it'll be really a real sort of test obviously we know that because, as we said, an established side, but it will see where you are. My final sort of question before we do the big announcement is really around, if you were given a piece of paper at the start of August and the piece of paper said you're going to be in second place come Christmas in your first season back, what would you have thought of that? Would you have said, yeah, I'll take that, or would you have said that's a little bit too much of a dream, or how do you feel on that?
I mean, if you look back to our pre-season, I mentioned before, a lot of the players didn't get the minutes that I would have liked, and that's what pre-season is all about, because we had a lot of trialists, we were trying to, put a squad together, so it was really tough to gauge. So then we went to Oakley and we lost heavily. I kind of think that now, 100%, I would take that all day long. It's it's a really good achievement for everyone.
Brilliant. Good stuff. We'll have one more question just before we go. But before we do that, we have got an announcement to make, which was plugged earlier on. Thank you to Paul Foster for allowing us to have this exclusive. Ben doesn't know this answer either, but we have had a poll that Paul and the club have been running throughout the day to give the home ground at Witney, the Witney ATP, an unofficial name, if you like. And there were lots of options. The blanket box was Darryl's personal favourite. I think the Herbert Smith Stadium, named after, of course, the only Witney Town player ever to go on to play for England. But there has been a vote, and it's been a decent number of votes, Paul has told me. So without further ado, with our Jiffy bag, which is actually a golden envelope, as Darryl called it, if you want to open that and announce the unofficial name of the Witney Town Stadium for the rest of this season.
Get the drum roll going.
Get the drum roll going.
So it is the Witney Community Stadium.
There you go. The Witney Community Stadium. So that is going to be the name of the Witney ATP, the unofficial name of Witney's ground for the rest of this season. And and I think that actually sums up the club perfectly. Community, which is what it's all about. Final word from you. If there are people watching this today, or maybe watching it back in the next couple of days, and they haven't been to a Witney game yet, we're getting over 100 most times. What would you say to them to encourage them to come along and have a look at what's going on?
Well, I'd say that it's a fantastic venue. I'd like to say that we would entertain you with the football that we play. It's a lovely atmosphere. There's hot drinks, there's food. We're working really closely with Waits. They put on some fantastic gourmet sausage rolls.
Oh, I'll be there then.
Yeah, you'll be enjoying that. Yeah, the bacon rolls. But the support's amazing. It's just a lovely environment to be around. It's a great atmosphere. So and hopefully enjoy the football if you come as well.
Brilliant, Ben. Thank you very much for coming in.
Kieren.
A big thank you also. He does get a lot of stick, but a big thank you to Dan Smith actually, who's the cameraman, our cameraman. We've given him a pay rise. He now gets 10 pence a week, and he brings you all that footage every week. Sorry, Dan. And it's really good footage, isn't it? He does some interviews after the game. We'll continue to follow Witney Town this year. It's kind of a little project that Darryl and I wanted to follow from the start. It's been a really exciting start to the season, and we're halfway through, and hopefully we'll see Witney Town progressing in the cup, and who knows, maybe getting that promotion into Division 1 next year.